Hey YouTube guys and YouTube gals, it's me, Magnum over at Guns and Cars with 2 Z's, if you please. Now, this video isn't about guns and it isn't about cars, but it is about food, which is another of my many loves. So, let's take a little trip back in time before this pie was in existence, and let me show you how it came to be. So, first thing we have here is, let me go through the ingredients here. First, we've got 3 eggs, got a cup of sugar, we will have a cup of light Karo syrup. You can use dark if you wish. We have 2 tablespoons of butter and a little bit of flour to kind of hold it together, because a lot of times it's a little bit loose when it comes out if you don't use the flour. I've added 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt into this flour here. So we need to start out with the eggs. We will break them, obviously, to get what's inside outside. And before, as soon as I get through breaking these and emptying them into this bowl, I'm going to turn the oven on so it can be preheating. Okay, we're going to start out at 400 degrees, and after 15 minutes we'll drop that down to about 350 and cook it for another 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how long it takes for it to get the way we want it. Alright, we just whip these up a little bit and put them in our bowl. At that point we can add a cup of the Karo syrup. And it looks like we would have enough for 2 pies, because this is a pint. So we're going to leave that right there for the time being. And I'm going to get in trouble for that. Alright, then we put the sugar in. And this is a cup of sugar also. White sugar, you can use brown sugar if you wish. Some recipes call for white sugar and a little molasses. The brown sugar recipes don't typically call for molasses because brown sugar already has molasses in it. So I'm going to mix this up. 2 tablespoons of butter, which I've melted to make it easier. And this is real butter. The thing is that this is such an easy pie to make. Now we need a 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. That smells good. Can you smell that? Mmm. 1/4 of a teaspoon. I was a little bit short there. There we go. Alright, that's that. We're done with that. Now this particular recipe, you don't bake the pie crust first, and just so you know, my father would not be pleased with this. This is a Pet Ritz pre-made pie crust. My father was the king of pies, and he made his own crust, and it was probably the best pie crust anyone ever tasted. Unfortunately, he didn't ever tell me how to do it. Okay, now the flour. The flour is just kind of a binder that prevents the filling from being too loose, Lautrec. Because you don't want to have to eat this with a spoon. If you're working along with me here, this is what it should look like at this point. Can you see that? Okay. Now, the only thing left, obviously, is the pecans. Some people save some of these out and put them in a pattern on the top. I don't do that. I just put them in the pie. Okay? So there we go. Alright, now all we have to do is put this in the pie shell. This is how it looks before it goes into the pie crust. And I did neglect to mention 1 cup of pecan halves is what required for the recipe. So I'm getting ready to put this in the pie crust and into the oven, and we'll be back with you in a bit. Okay, we have the oven set for 400 degrees. We are going to put the pie in the oven at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. Then we will reduce the heat to 350 and cook it for another 30 to 35 minutes, or perhaps a little bit longer, depending on how wiggly it is when I check it. So that's it for now. Next time you see it, it'll be a pie.